Hello and welcome to Bluebird Bricks. In honor of the semi-quincentennial of the founding of the United States, I thought I'd show these sets off. These are sets 398 and 10,021, the USS Constellation. 398 was released in 1978. It was the last in a series of so-called hobby sets of the 70s. These were sets similar to icon sets, I guess, of today, of the 2020s. These sets were meant for older kids, even potentially adults, to build, as they were more complex and required more attention to detail. In the early 2000s, the LEGO Group decided to release a lot of sets that they deemed important from the 80s, 90s, and in this case, 1978. This, I believe, is the set that was the oldest set that was re-released. The span between its original version and the re-release was about 25 years. So that was quite a gap. And in this video, I'm going to go through the main differences of the two sets in that 25-year span. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, we have the original version, the 1978 USS Constellation. Now, I was personally confused as to whether this was the actual this version is of the Constellation. Now, the booklet does state the 7th of September of 1797, I guess as the christening of the ship. That does match the USS Constellation that was provided online, I guess the info that I found online. But it's just confusing because there was also, so this ship was disassembled in 1853. That very same year, there was another ship that started construction. It was christened in the following year in 1854. That one was also called the USS Constellation. And interestingly, it wasn't until 1999 that they proved that the newer ship, which still existed then, was not the same as the original ship. And of course, in 1978, they didn't know this. They were uncertain of this. So it is interesting that they decided to go with this ship versus, say, the USS Constitution, which is one of the, both of these are but these are two of the 6 original ships commissioned by the U.S. Navy. But the Constitution is still exists. It's currently on display in Boston. I visited that ship. It's pretty interesting. They have a nice museum showing that. I suppose with the Constellation, given that the newer ship still exists, perhaps they had decided to use that one, as they thought, well, maybe this is the original ship and we'll go with this one. But the Constitution is verified, and that's actually still in active service by the U.S. Navy. It's the ship that has been in service for the longest period of time. So again, an interesting choice that I probably would have gone with the Constitution instead of the Constellation, but still interesting ship. Again, I was also confused because looking at drawings of the original ship, they do match what's on the box, as you can see over there. There's sort of a compass with the ship in the foreground. That matches depictions of the Constellation that I've seen online, but the coloring is interesting. There were no yellow, there was no yellow on the original Constellation, at least not in the depictions that I've seen. Now, the yellow could be brown, and from images that I've seen, the areas that are yellow were originally brown. Now, brown was introduced in 1974. It was already in existence by this point. Perhaps just yellow was more common, so it made more sense to go with the yellow. That's probably the best explanation there. But in any case, this is what we have. Yeah, let's go ahead and actually go into the ships. They're pretty interesting, I have to say. I do like them. I built it without really having much room for display anymore, but now that they're built, I do intend on actually keeping both built and on display. So yeah, let's take a look at the original ship here. And so it is interesting that and I'll show this in the newer ship that I didn't fully complete, and it'll be obvious why. But I'm not sure if this is this has to be one of the first sets to have string included in the set. The rigging here is actual string included, and the way that you got this ready was actually by following instructions to measure the string and cut 3 separate pieces out. So there was only one string provided, and you'd have to measure it out, cut it out, and then put it on the actual ship. And the 3 separate pieces are this very long one, which you would have to tie on this end, goes through the top, through 5 holes, and then tied here in the back. Whereas these other 2, this one's interesting. This string here goes from a pressure fit down here, which is sort of common in the 70s, I guess, even in the 80s. I've seen sort of a pressure fit for the string. It goes up through here, through an interesting brick, with like a little plate with like holes on each side, goes through that, down through here, back up through here on the other side, and down back to another pressure fit on the other side of the ship. And then here on this middle one, it's a very similar thing too, another pressure fit, but this time instead of coming down the ship, it just goes straight across the interesting plate that has a hole in it and goes onto the other side down. And I guess that'll bring me to one of the first differences between the sets. This piece, which I won't take out because it's already built, but it's a plate. Let me see if I can. This is a plate right here, similar to plates with axles on the side for cars for putting tires on. Only instead of having the little of the pins, the axles coming out, it just has a little cutout, and there's just a hole in here, and there's a very similar hole on the other side. Yeah, an interesting piece. This is the only set. I'm sure that it's in some other sets, but this is the only set that I can think of off the top of my head that it came in. And there are 3 of them, one for each of these. Oh, I guess there's a 4th piece, right? I forgot about this one. There's a 4th piece of string in the back, similar to the middle mast. So it's actually, you have to cut the string into 4 pieces. Let's see, so another difference here is in the cannons. Okay, right. So yeah. So let's take a look at the newer ship. The newer ship does, by 2002, when this was released, I guess 24 years later, that piece no longer existed. So yeah, we just have regular plates here, and the way you tie I guess you take advantage of the holes to maybe. You might be able to see here, but there's a hole right here above my finger. You can sort of see, you can get some string through there. You can probably do pressure fits here as well. So I guess that was still in use in 2003 or 2002 when this came out. But anyway, going back to the cannons, the one difference is that in 1978, the 1x1 cylindrical brick was transitioning to having holes. By 1979, most sets had that brick with the holes. 1978 was sort of a transition period, and in this case, I did not have a sealed copy, so I'm not exactly certain if all of them were like this or not, but before 1978, these bricks had solid stubs on top instead of like this. So this has a hole through it, right? And before that, they all had solid studs. And this set comes with, I don't even know how many, at least 50. 50 of these gray cylindrical elements. 3 of them, and I forget where they are. Is it this one? Maybe it's this one. Uh-oh. Okay. 3 of them have the solid stud. Let's see if this one, if I remember correctly. Nope, it's not that one. Okay, well, 3 of them have the solid stud on top. So I don't know if it came like that, or it was probably reconstructed and just had some choice elements that were original to the set. I'm not certain, but that's another difference, another major difference, and I think this was mentioned in another video reviewing the newer set, the 10,021. I did see on YouTube Bricksar's video on this. He did note that I believe this is a boat or something like that, some being depicted here, but below the boat are these 3 2x4 plates. In the newer one, they're gray, but in the older one, they're translucent clear. They're just clear, and I think the translucent pieces weren't made by the early knots, and that's likely why it's like this here. But in any case, that is another major difference here between the 2 sets. And probably for me, the biggest difference is in the cabin window pieces, you know, and so in the early in the 70s, and yeah, it was really just in the 70s. You had, well, 70s and 60s, and I think possibly the 50s too, but until the late 70s, this 1x1 window piece existed, and this does have this is not, oh no, it does not have a glass on it. It's just a clear, just has a clear hole through it, but it is, you know, a square hole and sort of set back, cut out a bit, similar to the Erlang brick, which is what's being used in the newer set, because those older window type pieces were no longer being made by the knots. The mold had been retired, and they were not bringing that back. But it is, you know, an apt reproduction using the Erlang bricks instead of the older window pieces. I guess maybe another thing to note here is there's like I guess that's a bell under here, and that bell is it's just a mini figurehead that's just pressure fit underneath the arch. In the 70s, the mini figureheads had solid studs on top, and of course by 2003 they had holes at the very top. So those are the major differences between these two sets. I since the older one, I just had the pieces for, you know, I did build it completely, following the instructions, which I'll go through shortly. The newer one, the box, so, of the Legend sets, this was the only set that I did not originally purchase when they came out in the early noughts. This one I got sometime later on, maybe in around 2020 or so. And the box was open, but the bags were sealed inside still. So that was nice. Yeah, I was able to follow the instructions and, you know, use new pieces to build this. And I just couldn't get myself at the moment to put on the sticker for the USS Constellation, which I'll show there. That's what goes on here. That's what's shown over there in the original one. That's just the sticker that'll go here on the little display stand that it comes with. And then I also wanted to show the string. This is the string that came with the newer set, and this is what needs to be cut in order to, you know, get the rigging up like in the newer set. And let me see, here are the, I guess the second set of instructions on how to actually cut the string and what lengths to cut it at. One second, I'll get this open. There we go. Nope. There we go. Yeah, so it shows you need you need four different pieces, 2 of length F, and then 1 of lengths G and H, and it shows you there what lengths you need to cut them at. Nothing on the back. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, they kept, this is, you know, again, this is the 2002 re-release, and they still kept it faithful to the original. I'm not sure if it was for cost savings or if they really did just want to keep it faithful to the original set, but that is what they opted for. And also, I guess, let's take a look at the instructions. So the original one, just one giant sheet here of instructions, and it is interesting. So this set, both sets contain 973 pieces. For 1978, that's gigantic. I can't even think of any 1,000-piece sets from before, maybe a Dacta set or something like that from that period. But this is probably top 5 sets by the time it was released in terms of piece count, if not number one in terms of general release. So it is an impressive set. So I do find it interesting. You build the ship in 17 steps, 973 pieces in 17 steps to get to the final piece count. So that works out to over 50 pieces per step. Now, you know, that's not quite true, because you do have the masts constructed separately, and you do have the steps for that, and similar thing with the stand. Those pieces are set apart. But yeah, I do remember when building it, steps 10 and 11, I believe, or 11 and 12 were pretty crazy. I did miss a few pieces because I think there were over 50 pieces being placed in just that one, in each of those steps. So that's those are the original instructions. For 10,021, they kept it the same. So these are in good condition because they're brand new. But I mean, yeah, I'll open it, but they're exactly the same as the newer instructions, so I won't dwell on these. Yeah, exactly the same. So they kept the experience consistent. So I will definitely give the Lego group that. Interestingly, in both sets, there was also a poster provided. This is the one from the original set, and yeah, the poster is just an image. You can see the back has nothing. It's just an image of the ship. I guess if you wanted to hang it up. I guess it includes some info in various languages, but yeah, a poster. Interesting inclusion. I know in the 90s, posters became sort of popular in Lego sets, but this is the earliest one that I can think of having a poster. I'm sure there are others, though. And yeah, same poster with what I believe to be photoshopped changes, as you can sort of see here in the cabin windows, as I mentioned. Actually, I haven't opened this poster yet, so let's take a look. I expect it to be exactly the same. Yeah. Same type of, yeah, nothing in the back. All right, yeah. Yeah, same type of poster. I won't open it completely, but it is the same poster. Okay, and then let's take a quick look at the boxes. This is the original box, as you can see there. A nice image of a boy playing with the ship, or admiring the ship, I guess, adding some finishing touches to it, perhaps. You can see, let's see, we can look at the top, clearly the Constellation. Oh, it is interesting, the original set in 1978 was only released in Europe. A set depicting a US ship, not released in the US, just in Europe. So I'm not exactly sure why they decided to do that, but interesting that they did decide to do that. So in the US, we actually had to wait until 2002 to get the ship when it was re-released. And this is the new box, very similar to the original, having the same images. So as you can see, the boy is exactly the same. I do believe they used the old image of the set and just photoshopped the bay windows, the cabin windows here. Everything else could be concealed well, but they did have to Photoshop the cabin windows here. Now, when they did not do that on the side photo, as let me see if I can get it. To me, the cabin windows here on the side look square. So I don't think they were consistent in the images that they used. Anyway, so here we have that. Yeah, here we have that set. They did touch up the images on the back. Oh, and in the old box, I forgot to show the inside. It is a decent copy. It did come with some trays inside, probably a plastic, yeah, very likely a plastic tray on top covering everything. And before ending this video, I did want to show the 1x1 round bricks. I did find one with a solid stud in the old ship, and I'll show that with the newer version. Here's the one with the solid stud, and here's the newer one still in use today, as you can see there. All right, so happy semi-quincentennial to the US. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.